Welcome to Philly Fortune Talks with your host, Jake Penny, where the city's brightest minds share the secrets behind their success. Are you ready to be inspired?
Welcome to another episode of Philly Fortune Talks, where we highlight the story of Philadelphia's area and surrounding areas' most impactful entrepreneurs and leaders. Today, we are thrilled to introduce Rock Thomas, a transformational leader in the personal development state and real estate with over 30 years of experience. Rock is a best-selling author, motivational speaker, and the host of top-rated Rock Your Money, Rock Your Life podcast. From humble beginnings on a small Canadian farm near Montreal, Rock became a self-made millionaire dedicated to helping others achieve financial freedom and fulfillment. He is the founder of the I Am movement and is renowned for redefining lives through his innovative and motivational approach. Rock's influence extends through keynote speeches, seminars, best-selling books, and life-changing programs, helping individuals turn ideas into action and achieve massive success. As the founder of M1, a global mastermind with a proven system for creating financial freedom and fulfillment, Rock provides a supportive community of high achievers, mentors, and resources to help individuals reach their full potential. Join us as we delve into Rock Thomas's journey, explore his strategies for success, and learn how he continues to inspire and empower the people around the world. Let's get started on Philly Fortune Talks. Rock, it's a pleasure to have you on, sir.
Well, it's great to be here, Jake. You know, I always look back on my childhood, and I'm very grateful that I had a difficult childhood. Um, Somebody once posted, he goes, unfortunately, you don't have a difficult childhood like I do, so you're not as motivated. And if you look at most successful people, they did have some form of adversity that was thrust upon them. And maybe they had little choice, or they chose to step up and overcome it. And that gave them references to do that in the future. And so I do sincerely feel a little bit sorry for people that have just a cushy life, because a lot of those people are having a tough time today, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. People that don't have, dirt in their wounds are definitely struggling because they don't know what it's like to go through adversity or tough times, or, you know, s- try to go after the light that they never had. So, your journey from a small farm in Canada to becoming a self-made millionaire is incredibly inspiring. Can you share, a little bit what initially motivate you to pursue personal development in real estate?
When I was 13 years old, my brother wouldn't let me ride his motorcycle, and he teased me all the time, let me sit on it, but never drive it. And after a few days of that, something clicked in my brain and said, I need money. I got to have money because money is fun. Money is freedom. Money is choice. And I went to work every night after school on the chore list that we had in the family. It was like, fix this window, paint that wall, repair that barbed wire fence. And then on the weekends, I do the same thing. And I became obsessed with that motorcycle. And most successful people are obsessed with a vision, some sort of a vision. I think most young men at the age of 16, 17, or 18 were obsessed at one point in time with a girl, and they couldn't get her out of their mind. So that's a good reference for gentlemen. I don't know what it is for ladies, but that obsession creates focus, and that focus creates energy, and the energy creates a result. And so that was the birth of my entrepreneurial muscle at a very young age. I didn't have a really good mentor to teach me how to get more skilled. So my 20s was spent mostly doing things like carpentry and driving taxis and busboy and waiter and things like that, flight attendant. And then my father got sick when I was in my late 20s. So I took some time to take care of him. I lost my job, lost all my savings. And I'd already bought a couple of homes. I actually had started a senior citizen home, Jake, if you could believe it,
Wow.
where my mother and I took care of elderly people in a house we had bought with that I renovated into 9 bedrooms. So we had 9 people, which was the maximum you were allowed. But imagine back in the 80s, we were making $110,000 a year, say $500,000 a year now, just running this little home. And I had a job on the side. I lived there. I cut my expenses because I was living in a house that generated revenue. So I had no mortgage to pay. and we prepared meals for these people. So all the food we purchased was tax deductible. And so I had zero expenses, and I was able to put tons of money away and start buying other properties. And then my father got sick. It all fell apart because I lost my focus. And I got into real estate. And that's when I started selling real estate and then investing in real estate. And then when I saw how great a path that was, Jake, I just started to teach other people because I'm like, God, I spent my whole 20s working like a crazy person at minimum wage. Had I known that you could make all this money selling real estate and buying real estate, I would have started that a decade earlier. So I rushed to tell people how to do that.
Yeah, I was 20 or 21 when I dropped out of college because I just saw this real estate thing and I was like, man, that's the only thing I know that creates financial freedom, that'll give me the life that I've always dreamed of as a boy. And I didn't know what to do, but man, I chugged, ran my ass off towards that North Star, and that, for you at a young age, that was that motorcycle. Um, but like, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced early on in your career with real estate? Whether that's real estate and motivational speaking or just real estate, and how did you overcome them?
Well, the first year I sold one home because I was not coachable, because I lacked the
Mm.
confidence to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. So I was what you call a secret agent, secretly failing. And only because I was tenacious, I kept on trying. Otherwise, I probably would have quit. But in my second year, somebody noticed that I was working really hard because I talked about door knocking and different things, and it kind of got the rumor got out. And this guy said, let me take you under my wing and let me mentor you, which is give you feedback on a day-to-day basis with every struggle you have, every objection you have. I'll coach you through it. And I bet you I can accelerate your success. And he just had the right mannerism with me where I felt safe. So I worked with him. And I went from one sale the first year to 32 sales the next year,
Wow.
then to 45, then to 65, then to 99. And then he sold me the largest real estate company in the province of Quebec, Canada.
Wow.
And he mentored me on how to build that up, how to lead, how to speak, he sent me on a Dale Carnegie course on how to win friends and influence people. And he just kind of gave me the structure. And I remember, Jake, feeling freaked out basically every day for like about 7 years because I was always learning something new. I was always growing. I was like, never spoke in front of people. Now all of a sudden I had to speak in front of 65 people and lead the meeting. Agents came up to me and said, don't you bankrupt this company and bounce my checks or we'll come and kill you. They're like, oh, shit, I better learn how to run finances. And so it was exciting and scary all at the same time. But I can promise you, if there's anything people who are listening to this get from this, is if you don't have a mentor that can give you coaching and feedback on a day-to-day basis, don't go on a course, read a book, and then go out and try it on your own. What you need is you need feedback in the field. Look at any great athlete.
Hmm.
They go out, they kick the ball, they hit a golf ball. There's a coach standing there giving them feedback on a continuous basis. Even a golfer has a caddy. They talk about every single shot. Imagine in life, you had to discuss the email before you sent it out. You had to discuss the negotiation, the contract, the pricing, the terms with somebody of value, how different your results would be. And that I learned that at that age, and I thought, wow. And that accelerated my success. I was making $1 million a year in my mid 30s. And I just kept on building the company up to 275 agents. Then I started buying real estate. Then I started going to Tony Robbins and writing books. And, it was just 1% better a day. Surround yourself with the great people and challenge yourself on a regular basis. I read a book. It says, do what you fear and it will disappear. So
Okay.
literally what I had was like this wall with every fear I had with 1,000 post-it notes. And I would try to take off one or two of them a day. Afraid of public speaking? Okay, good. Afraid of talking to that good-looking girl down the hallway? Grab the post-it note, go talk to her. And I would just start to take all these fears down until all the fears start to shrink. There was less and less and less. And my confidence went up because every day I was attacking what I was afraid of. And I stopped being afraid. because I didn't die. I'm still here.
Hmm. I love that. Do what you fear and it'll disappear. I've never heard that. I've always heard like, you know, do the hardest thing first and then like everything else like, happen for you. But I love that. Do what you fear and it'll disappear. That's amazing. That's a new one that I'm going to use. I'll probably get the book
Nice.
too, but um no, that's amazing, Rock. So you've helped, I mean, tremendously, tons of people achieve financial freedom. Find people in the greater Philadelphia alone, a lot of people in our area through your programs. What key strategies do you believe are essential for that financial success?
Back in 2013, I had a chance to be invited to a mastermind group by somebody that I respected. And I didn't ask him. He says, "Hey, next March, you're going to have a bunch of people to my house. This is November. We're going to do a mastermind, ski, play some games, cash flow, hang out, talk about success and challenges, and help each other win. Do you want to come?" I didn't go, "How much does it cost? What are the exact dates? Where am I going to be sleeping? What are we going to be doing? And when are we going to be doing it?" I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Okay, great. I'll send you the information." I said, "Awesome." When he sent me the information, I didn't like, "Oh my God, I got to sleep in a room with another guy. I got to give $500 to share for the food." No, successful people have a mindset of yes, of moving forward. So I went to that event, and after the event, I realized that there were super cool people, some of them from Philadelphia, and I suggested that we formalize these types of events in a way that there's structure and there's ways to improve. There's ways to push men to be men because I think men need to be together. First of
Hmm.
all, we need help to figure out women. So that's always a plus. And secondly, we need to be able to, we don't want to tell the women around us the challenges we're going through because women tend to expand things. And we just want a guy who's going to go, "Dude, step the fuck up and just, make the call." We're like, "Yeah, okay, you're right." Boom. And so that created GoBundance, a tribe of healthy, wealthy, generous men that choose to lead epic lives and don't apologize for being awesome while grabbing life big. And there's 1,000 members now. And to answer your question, I started to realize there's a lot of people that weren't millionaires yet. In fact, the majority of people. And I realized that those people needed a little bit more structure to the way they were going to move from not thinking like a millionaire to thinking and behaving like a millionaire. So I raised my hand and I said, "I'll start that program." We started that in about 2015, I think, maybe 2016. And started off with like 6 or 8 guys, and that's grown into thousands as well. And I've created over 200 whole life millionaires through the process of community, accountability, and access. So community is we're afraid of being abandoned as humans, Jake. So we find a way to fit in. So if you put yourself into a room of athletes, you'll behave like an athlete. Put yourself into a room of millionaires, you'll behave like millionaire. Put yourself into a room of healthy people, you behave healthy because you don't want to be abandoned.
Right.
Now, if you don't like that group, you'll abandon it yourself. There are many unhealthy people that go into a healthy environment and they leave because they don't want to be pushed to change, right? So community is crucial. It's the community of the values that you want. The second thing is accountability. And if you can find somebody, Jake, that you deeply respect, and for me, that was Tony Robbins, you deeply respect, or my mentor, Wayne Jordan, that helped me in real estate, you don't want to disappoint them.
Mm-mm.
You will do things that you wouldn't normally do, like make your 100 calls a day, or do 100 push ups, or get up when you say you're going to get up. So the accountability piece has to be fabricated with people that you respect. And then the last piece is access. How many times I've been able to call somebody up and say, "Hey, I need a lawyer, I need a doctor, I need this, I need somebody who's got contacts in this area." And so you have an expanded database of resources that allows you to accelerate your success. When I was in my 20s, I was doing carpentry and driving a taxi because I didn't know any millionaires. So I just did what I knew. As soon as I started getting in the room with millionaires, all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, do you want to get in on this multifamily with us? Hey, do you want to go to Norway kayaking?" And all of those things gets you to step up and live a bigger life. So it really is community, accountability, and access.
Yeah, a tribe, that really, mastermind tribe, whatever you want to call it, that lifts you up at all times.
Yeah, well, thanks for saying what took me 5 minutes to say in 30 seconds.
You said it way better, more in depth.
No,
Uh,
you said it way better. Brevity's a compliment.
can you describe like a particularly impactful moment or story from your work with the IM movement?
I can. I think that most people's struggles revert back to the conclusions that we come up to when we're children.
Mm,
And we're a little bit naive and we're a little vulnerable. And so if somebody says to you, hey, you're shy or you're stupid or you'll never amount to much, sometimes we take that on and believe it.
yeah.
I was told I was ugly by my brother, who wanted me to be ugly because I think he realized I was actually good looking and he didn't want me to know it because he wanted to have the upper edge. And he knew that if he could persuade my brain that I was ugly, then I would behave ugly. And he was very successful at that. He was shorter than me, so he probably felt intimidated by that. We came from different fathers. And so he would repeat that over and over again because I had acne, and he would point it out. Oh, you got another zit in your cheek there, or you got a zit on your forehead. Nice going, man. You look like pizza face, loser, ugly. And so I started to take on this behavior of waking up and rushing to the mirror and looking to see how ugly I was.
Mm,
And if there was a way to get around it, like putting on some Clearasil, or maybe not going to school, or faking I was sick and avoiding the pain of the world seeing me ugly. Long story short, fast forward to my 20s, and I'm in Asia and I lose all my money, gets stolen, and I'm stuck with a situation where I have no money, but I need to make money. And I was hanging out with four models. We all would go out at nighttime and party. And I was the only guy that wasn't a model. They were all models. And I always thought they're good looking and I'm ugly. But then when I ran out of the money, one of the guys turned to me and goes, why don't you model? And I go, I can't model. I'm ugly. He goes, what do you mean you're ugly? I go, I spoke my truth at that time. He goes, that's bullshit. You're not ugly. You're a great looking guy. And he says, just go apply for the job, see what happens. So I applied for the job. Immediately they hire me. I'm modeling running shoes and underwear. And it was in that moment I realized that if you are given a suggestion and at a young age you take it on for real, you could live the rest of your life through that lens.
mm-hmm.
And so when I got home a few years later, I started to study exactly how that worked. And then there are affirmations, incantations, things like that. And I started to change the narrative from I'm ugly to I'm ruggedly handsome. And I just repeat it. If you repeat the words I am over and over again, you can overwrite the past programming. So I was like, I'm ruggedly handsome. I'm the best real estate agent in Montreal. I started to saying all these things, and then they all started coming true. And I started to experience the world that way. So the I am movement was birthed from my own limitation and reminding people that you have had suggestions given to you that probably aren't serving you anymore. And if you want to upgrade them, I wrote a book called The Power of Your Identity. I have a 5-step process on how to do that. And it's really simplistic, but if you're, motivated enough and you're willing to put in the reps of repetition of saying something new to yourself, you can overwrite the past and you can be whatever you want to be.
Right. It's the same as like working your bicep. You change the paradigm. You use you exercising, do those reps in your brain. I am, or, you state your name, Jake is, Jake does, Rock is, and it totally like rewires and programs your mind and everything like that. Cause, we're told from a young age, I mean, you know this, but for the listeners that may not, we hear the word no what is it, 5,000 times by the time we're like 6 years old or something like that. And our destiny at a young age is, depicted by our surroundings, and they make our belief system. So it's like cracking out of that shell and getting rid of all that junk that doesn't serve you anymore is super important. So,
And a lot of it's insidious, Jake. It's like people go, I'm not a morning person. I don't like swimming. I'm not good with numbers. And it's all bullcrap, because even if you're not good with numbers and you're running a business and you keep on telling yourself that, you could get better. Or you say, you know what? I don't like to focus on numbers. So I have a great bookkeeper that does them for me so I can run my business professionally. And you take back the power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important as entrepreneurs and real estate people. You're not going to love every part of your business. You're not going to be great at every part of your business because you'll be great at what you focus on. But you may be focusing on a piece of it because you think you're good at it, or you had some success and it was rewarded to you. Like, think about this. Is it possible somebody at a young age says something and everybody at the dinner table laughs? And they look around, they see all these smiling, funny faces based on what they said. And they say to themselves, or somebody says to them, my gosh, Jake, you're funny. They hear that a couple of times, and now they think they have to be funny because it
Right.
was so rewarding. So now they focus on being funny and they turn into a comedian. These types of things happen. The same, that's a positive example, but a negative example would be somebody tries to say a joke and somebody goes, that is stupid. Don't ever try to say a joke again. Or somebody sings and they go, can you please leave the room? You're hurting my ears. I had a client once that stopped singing for 12 years. She stopped singing at the age of 22 because somebody told her, please, that's terrible. And she came to me for coaching at 34. And we went through, what's your dream? And she goes, I love singing. I goes, when was the last time you sang? And she told me the story. So I encouraged her to take singing lessons again. And now she sings in a band and she's having the time of her life. These little suggestions or moments when we're embarrassed or shamed or told something can literally shape you for the rest of your life. So I think everybody should do a little checkup on the words that follow I am and go, is that working for me? Is it working for me to say, I'm not a morning person. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not a social person. I'm introverted. I'm ADD. Is it working for you? If it is, great. If it's not, why don't you upgrade it?
Right. Yeah. If it's not serving you, get rid of it or
Yeah.
delegate it. Like you said, find somebody else who
Yeah.
is and change the verbiage so it's no longer degrading you. It's coming from a place of being resourceful.
I typically, when I have papers, because I'm a visionary and I have a lot of ideas and my brain moves very quickly, I often lose papers because I'm multitasking and I'm thinking and I'm taking papers, shoveling them into my briefcase, and then get my briefcase out, empty it on the desk, and like, they call me the Bermuda Triangle with papers. So now when I'm around my staff and they're like, okay, hey, Rock, could you drop this envelope off? I'm like, remember, you don't want to do that. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, well, I got it. So we can talk about my tendencies, and now I get to be a little bit more free when it comes to paperwork because I'm honest about that's not something that I'd have to work really diligently and hard to improve that, and I don't want to,
Mhm.
and I don't need to.
Right. Yeah. It's not worth the value of time is worth better. I'll focus on something else for sure.
Yeah.
So how has
Mhm.
your leadership style evolved over the years and, how has that, what have you learned about leading a successful organization like M1?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Um, so in M1, what we teach, it's a 55-week program and it's broken down into 3 segments. The first 4 months is highly weighted on self-mastery, getting yourself to take action when you're not in the mood, which is a problem for most people. A lot of people know what to do, they just don't do it.
Mhm.
The second phase is your relationship with money. It's your money blueprint, which you learn from your parents primarily. And the last one is leadership and leverage. And so, what I learned through this whole process is you can give people a lot of information, and most of the time, they're going to go apply parts of it, but not all of it, especially when you got a robust program like that. And so, what I started to do is I started to help people, for instance, with real estate investments. First, we help them manage their money better, save money, and then we encourage them to go buy real estate. What we found is that People were so excited about buying real estate, they'd go out and they'd buy a bad deal.
Oh,
So you work really hard, save up 50 grand, and then go buy a deal and have it go south. And then they have to deal with the disappointment and how they're going to reframe themselves, which a lot of times they can't even recover from because they're so disappointed. So, from a leadership perspective, I started to get a little bit tighter in the rules around application of what we're teaching. It's really like you can read a book on being a millionaire, but once you're in the field, you have new set of problems. Go buy
right.
real estate. Great. That concept makes sense. And most millionaires do it. But once you're in the field, you got people that are going to take advantage of you. You got to learn how to negotiate. There's a whole new set of rules in the field. So the number one response to your question is what I learned. I learned that I had to be a little bit more detailed when they're in the field in what they were taught. The second thing is I realize is that most people don't take action or don't talk about it when they don't know what to do, but they won't tell you. Have you ever sent an email to somebody and then they're like, you just don't hear back from them, or call them and ask them to do something, you don't hear back, and you're like, I don't get it. Like, we agreed we were going to move ahead on this. I learned that most people are so ashamed to admit they don't know how to do it that they just will disappear and hide. So, from a leadership perspective, I've had to be much more empathetic to the journey to the top. And so I've softened on one side and hardened on the other, hardened on, don't do this until you're certain, and softened on, you might not know, let's talk. So, interesting journey. It's evolved a lot. And the group leading are now 28 people. We have the results today because of those distinctions I learned over time. I used to think, Jake, just give people the P for the big thing called be a millionaire. No, they need you to say, okay, a dash of salt.
Yep.
Put it into the oven slowly so it doesn't stink the cake. Take it out and don't pick at it because you want to taste it for 10 minutes because it needs to set. So all those little distinctions can only happen when you get a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people need that hand holding through that first transition until they fully learn the intricacies of everything. Because, like you said, it's one thing to read a $20 book from Barnes and Nobles, and it all makes sense. Oh my God, this is so cool! This is amazing. My life's going to change overnight. Until you get into the field and life punches you in the face. A contractor becomes a con and steals your money. The deal isn't negotiated. All those things that can go south at a moment's notice and set you back forever to where you never even do it again. And it's like that's where I love what you do and how you're hand holding is that, you know, people want financial freedom, but they think they can just go out and just, get started and just buy a deal, and then that one deal turns into a lifetime of misery. It's like, you know, the whole objective is to help people, or for not even help people. When someone else goes buys a deal, it's like, hey man, this is that first, you know, nail in the coffin, or my first step up that mountain to be like, hey, this is freedom that I'm after, not set you back worse than you where you were.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that real estate is the vehicle. However, it's a slow way to becoming financially free. You don't buy one piece of real estate and then you're set. You still have to manage the property. You still have to deal with tenants. You can delegate that, of course, but it happens over time. 4 or 5 years later, you refinance it, you take money out, you get another deal, et cetera, et cetera. But it might take you, unless you're doing the Burr method, it might take you a while if you're just buying a conventional deal, at a real retail price. It's cash flowing, yeah, a little bit, but you need several properties and you got to save money in order to accumulate several properties. So yeah, 25 years later, I'm sitting in a building I own right now. I bought for $780,000. We're going to develop 100 condos on it. It'll turn into a $50 million project, but that's 25 years later.
Yeah.
And I've had to manage this property, and it's cash flowed for me, and it's been a wonderful property. But people want sometimes success in 2 3 years with real estate. Again, unless you're buying a property that needs to be massively improved and is going to have a set of problems itself, that's probably not going to happen. But real estate is the way to go. Surround yourself with people that know what they're doing. And yes, especially if you're in your 20s, wake up 20 years later and you can be pretty much set.
That's for sure. Yeah, it's not a get rich quick. It's a get rich slow. But when that slow catches up, boy, is life good. Um,
Yeah.
but building your communities and teams, through real estate, through your brokerage company, through M1, what qualities have you prioritized and why?
Another great question. Growing up on the farm, it was all about everything had to happen whether you liked it or not because animals needed to be fed. It's a great life lesson. You're sick, you're tired, you're not in the mood. Doesn't matter. It
Mm.
has to get done. So you learn that muscle. One of the things I learned with working with people in different communities is that people are motivated in different ways. Some people like to be challenged, other people don't. Some people like to be supported and really have their hand held, and other people like, leave me alone. And other people want to be encouraged, and other people, encouragement slows them down because they were never encouraged. They were more challenged. So I coined this phrase SEC, support, encourage, and challenge. And what I try to do is discern based on the type of the person's personality what clicks best. I was playing a two-man golf tournament with another guy who knows me very well. He knows I respond better to challenge than I do to support and encouragement. Now I like those, but in certain situations, you got to know which button to press.
Mm.
So his ball was out of bounds. Mine was in the bunker, difficult shot. And he walks right by me and he says, "That's an impossible shot. You'll never make it." And the
Oh,
competitors are looking at him going, "That's your partner. Why are you saying that to him?" And he goes, "Because Rock's an asshole. He's going to miss this shot and screw it up for us." And he knows how to motivate me. So sure enough, I get it out. I'm 10 feet away. He walks behind the putt. He goes, "That's a bending putt. If you make that, you're going to be a freaking hero, man. I don't think you can make it. That's a tough putt." Again, drawing my energy, my focus, because it reminded me of my brother who used to beat me up and challenge me, which created energy. And sure enough, I sink the putt and we win the hole. We walk off laughing. I knew exactly what he was doing. And the other two guys are walking off scratching their head going, "How did, what?" Now, a different person, it would have worked better if he said, "Oh my God, that's a really difficult shot. Don't worry about it. If you can't get up and down, we'll get him on the next hole." And that would work better for them. So I've learned better how to communicate with people based on their background and their upbringing, on what are the buttons to push so that they feel like they're most likely to be turned on to take action.
yeah. Instead of like you said, the other person would have said, like, don't worry about it. That's like the submissive point of view, which the world is really good at, and that's why they never progress. Instead, fueling that fire, putting the coal in the burner, and being like, you won't get it, you won't do it, and it builds that energy to go out and get it done.
I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so I'm going to try to motivate everybody by using a hammer. But it doesn't work that way because people are different.
Yeah.
So a great leader is going to realize that, like, I've got a few salespeople in my office, are really great salespeople, but they're super, super gentle. They're men with almost feminine energy. They're super nice. They talk like this. They're not pushy. So if I go up to that person and I'm like, "Hey, motherfucker, give me 100 push-ups," they're going to be like, "What? Excuse me?" But there's another guy in here who's 22. He's jacked. And I walk up to him and I'm like, "Ready to go?" It's like, "Yeah." And we just drop and we do 50 push-ups in the hallway. And we're both stand up. We hit our chests together. We go back into our office and pound the phones.
Hell
And
yeah.
life was beautiful. So I would say I've become much better at going and entering into another person's world,
Hmm.
meeting them where they're at, speaking their language, if you will, their language of motivation, so they feel respected and honored.
Yeah, it's almost like that book, The Love Languages, the five love languages. You know,
Yeah.
being a chameleon to better suit that individual and come from a standpoint point of view that they can vibe with and that they understand, so it penetrates and you make real difference. But balancing your various professional commitments with your personal life, I'm sure can be challenging. You most likely have that all dialed out now, but for somebody that's not there yet, what daily habits or routines help you to stay focused and effective that they could potentially implement?
All right. Can I give a gift to your listeners?
Absolutely.
Okay. So people go to my Instagram, Rock Thomas, and they go to the bio and they click it. There's something called the Sunday System for Success.
Mm.
I'm very proud of this product that I created. It's about 15 or 20 years I've been using it. And it's really the culmination of a book called The One Thing, written by Gary Keller, and Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and his whole way that he operates his life. First things first and begin with the end in mind and all kinds of things like that. And then Tony Robbins' passion for creating a result when you're focused on an outcome. A lot of people are like, um, okay, we have people coming over for dinner. We have to get ready for dinner. And and they think of all the things they have to do and they get overwhelmed. Tony, what he does is great at. He goes, what's the end result? We want to have a fantastic dinner with friends and laugh and have a really good time. When you give the energy to the event, all the tasks seem much simpler. When you just focus on set the table, go get the soft drinks, get the beer, get the ice, that feels heavy. But when you're connected to the outcome and the result emotionally, the problems shrink. So I've
Mm.
mashed all those styles together. And every Sunday for about an hour and a half, I sit down, sometimes in my gym, sometimes in front of a good football game, and sometimes standing up on my ping pong table, whatever. And I look at my life and I go through a 7-step process that people will get when they go there. And it absolutely will blow you away. You'll get 10 hours a week more. I've got so many testimonials of people that absolutely love this system because it creates focus, it creates prioritization, it creates energy, it creates resourcefulness, it groups things together. So many people are like, oh, Thursday afternoon and we got to go to Mary and Bob's place for dinner. We got to get a bottle of wine, but we have no gas in the car. And everybody's stressed out. If on Sunday, you know that you're going to Mary and Bob's and you know that you got to go to the tax accountant on Wednesday, and you know, you could group them together Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, get them all out of the way, and then you're more relaxed. And so it combines all these methodologies. And that's been, honestly, to me, it's a reverse engineer your week. And I look at, what am I going to do next Sunday? I'm going to play golf. I'm going to do an open house, whatever. What am I going to do next Saturday? And you work it all the way backwards. It's a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, if you let life attack you and not the other way around, of course you're going to be like, all the time. And most people are. And it's like, it's really not that hard to start owning your day, owning your week. Prepare on Sundays, template, schedule all that stuff out, all that space and whatnot. Make sure you spend time for yourself in the morning before going to work. If you have it, if you're still in corporate, or if you're an entrepreneur, make sure you spend time with yourself first. And then, you know, attack life head on, not the other way around. So simply schedule, have a daily ledger, and do your morning ritual. So I that totally changed my life when I started Sundays. I take the book. All right, what are we doing? Make sure I have my affirmation, incantations, journaling, my miracle morning thing in the morning that serves me, and then I go out and serve life, but on my terms.
100%.
So what upcoming trends or opportunities in your personal development and real estate are you most excited about, and how are you preparing for them?
Obviously, AI. We embrace it a lot, and you leverage, ChatGPT and things like that. Um, Social media. I think you have to have a brand, because anybody that's going to check you out is going to eventually look at your social media if they want to do something with you. So consciousness around that. And then the thing I'm actually working on right now is a lot more disconnected from the matrix and from social media and all that. So I'm going to Asia next month for a month, and I'm going to be pretty much off the grid for the month. I'll check maybe once a week, I'll check in. And so I've been telling everybody in advance, month of July, I don't exist, right? So get me before, get me after, but don't expect me to respond that month. And I do the same thing now with my phone. I take mini breaks. I used to go for a walk with my dog with my phone. Now I'll go for a walk with my dog without my phone. And I realize I'm super addicted to the dopamine hits that I get from my phone and computer, etc. So I keep on giving myself these fasts from technology so I can really get back to myself, because I don't know if we know who we are anymore, because we're bombarded by such fake news and comparing ourselves to stuff and feeling good or bad or worse or better. None of it's really very good. So on one case, I'm embracing it from a business perspective. On the other case, I'm giving myself a fast from it so I can just kind of connect with my soul, my spirit, and just be more grounded. And so those are the things that right now I'm focused on as I head into the future.
That's super important. It's actually something I'm working on now as well, is getting that disconnect, being able to not pick up that phone first thing in the morning or not have the need throughout the day. Like if something's really important, someone will get a hold of me. Um, and at the same time, things are going to happen that are out of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. For the most part, there's things that we can control in life, and then there's things that we can't control. So it's just like, being able to bring it in, process it, and then release and deal with it when it comes in. But that's awesome that you brought that up. Even, someone as successful as you is going through the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's the boiling of the frog. We've all become trained by the people that want to train us, which is the media and Facebook and Google and all that sort of thing. And I'm a little bit concerned. I would be lying to you if I didn't say I was concerned about where it's headed. I look at young children today, and I do still do some coaching, and I have a few young children that, they're 20 years old and they're depressed.
Mm,
They're depressed because they're comparing themselves on social media to other people that are, making things up anyway, but they think it's real or they don't know. And they think they can't compete. They think they can't win. They don't know how to socialize anymore. So I'm 62 years old now, and I can't catch myself doing the old man thing where, today, we used to be this way, sonny. And I'm like, damn it. Sounding like my father now. I hate this. Or I'm on the tee box and I'm like, yeah, I got a bad elbow. I'm like, damn it. So there is a little bit of that. But nonetheless, as humans, I think what we all want, we just really want to connect. And social media has had a little bit the opposite. Those real
mm,
just, hanging out, sit in the backyard, having a nice barbecue with family without the phones and without, taking a picture of the moment so that you can look at it later. Just be in the moment.
right.
So I'm working on being in the moment and not being owned by, the big matrix. But at the same time, wanting to use part of it to impact life and to make a difference in people's lives. So using it more strategically, I guess, Jake, is what I'm trying to say, versus using it. It's like I used, before they have all these TV networks, et cetera, you used to have to watch a show on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night at 8:30. That's the only time it was on. And if you weren't careful, they followed it up with another show that would grab your attention. Before you knew it, you're 3 or 4 hours in front of the TV when you had a
Mm,
plan just to watch a half-hour show. And I think that's what's happening with social media. Before you know it, you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling. You're like, Jesus, what am I doing? So I think everybody should, ideally take some accountability there and learn to turn that off, connect, be human again, be real. And so that's, I think, a big piece for all of us going forward.
Yeah, it's really weird that social media was made to connect people. However, it has made us so disconnected as humans. And it's just like fascinating. It's terribly fascinating, because it's like, man, the thing that it was used for does the exact same opposite. Now, social media can be a hugely powerful tool, and you know this for sure, is that for business people and entrepreneurs, social media is amazing as long as you're not wasting your time on it. It's a huge exposure thing. It's a lead generator, everything like that. But using it for the flick of the switch, is just man, that's life passing you by.
Well, there's a saying, Match.com, the dating site, doesn't want you to find the love of your life. And Facebook doesn't want you to not scroll. And Google wants you to constantly use them as search engine. So they all have their own agenda. And so Facebook is going to design it in a way that's addictive. So they get your eyeballs and then they can run ads and they can make more money. So we
Right.
have to understand that and then use it for what serves us, not what serves them.
Right. Absolutely. If you had one piece of advice for an aspiring entrepreneur or an individual looking to achieve financial freedom or get even started in real estate, what would that be?
Find a mentor, find somebody that's done it, somebody that you respect and like, and then slow down a little bit, do your due diligence, and make the first deal the right deal. I always say, if you could present your deal to a couple of people that say, I want in on that deal, it's so good, I will partner with you, that's a good sign. And so find people that are experienced, that have many doors or have what you want, and then get them to give you the thumbs up. Don't do it secretly. Don't do it on your own. Don't do it because you're impatient. There's always another deal that'll come along,
Hmm.
but do your best to get the first one right. And the best way to do that is to surround yourself with people that have done it, that actually give a crap. And that's why we created the community we're in, because now all these people can, check with other people in the community, and those people have, they got no dog in the fight. It's not like they're making a commission or something. They just want another person to win. So I think that's the most important thing is, Warren Buffett said, rule number one is preserve your capital. Rule number two is refer to rule number one. And essentially, I'm saying the same thing. If you're going to work hard and you're going to invest your money, then do it wisely, do it prudently, do it responsibly, because you owe it to your family.
Great words. Great words. So for listeners who want to connect with you or learn more about your work, the IM movement, M1 community, what's the best place for them to go?
Instagram is a great place. I put out a lot of free material there. So Rock Thomas, they can get like the Sunday System for Success. They can go to my website, rockthomas.com, if they want to learn more about some of my my programs and things like that. They can follow me on Facebook also. I do a lot of free content. So whatever works for them. I like to meet people wherever they're at and just try to move them a little bit more forward.
Awesome, Rock. Well, it was a pleasure having you on Philly Fortunes Talks today.
It was a pleasure meeting up with you, Jake, and always nice to see one of our students, excelling and growing and expanding. So God bless you.
Thank you, Rock.
Thanks for tuning in to Philly Fortune Talks with Jake Penny. Inspired to share your success story? Visit phillyfortunetalks.com/guest and let's inspire together.